G'day jabronis, it is the Verd back with you again, and welcome to our week 1 team builder for the MBA. I'm pretty excited for this. This is probably a league where I'm going to start taking things seriously. As you can kind of tell from the dual society so far, first week I brought some random sets. Second week I just slapped together a bunch of mons, whereas for this league I am actually really trying to put in effort and make it work. This is really the league that kind of warms me up back into like the NPL and other leagues potentially. So, pardon me, really keen to make my mark here. And week 1 opponent is Sleck and the Indianapolis Keldeos. I don't really know too much about Sleck, to be perfectly honest with you, but he has a very scary team, and that's all that really matters. Doesn't matter how well you know your opponent. He's got a scary team. I got to deal with it. And I brought a pretty interesting team. This is very it's very Verd-like, I suppose, in some of the ways the set are made. So a lot of people are slating me at the start of the season, saying, Volcarona was a bad pick for my team, given that I lacked really good removal, being that, Empo plus Rotom plus Avalugg wasn't the best removal, and I kind of want to take advantage of that call, because I feel like in this matchup, my opponent's going to want to take advantage of that too, and is most likely going to lead with something like, say, Piloswine. I feel like Pylo, is so good in this matchup. I feel his optimal set, though, is like max HP with Thick Fat to deal with Volk, but then also having maybe like some Fizz Def and some attack to deal with Zygarde. So because of that, I've actually planned around like those kind of sets with this team, and mainly with this Volcarona set. So I'm actually bringing Lead Rona, which seems a bit weird, but it actually is really, really strong in the matchup. Against Piloswine, I basically negate that thing straight away. Fire Dance does 33% minimum to Pylo, and if I get the special attack raised, then it is in my favour for Giga Drain to then kill max HP Piloswine. Granted, he could run a more specially defensive Piloswine, but I don't really see why specially defensive would be the better set here, given that his better 2 Volcarona checks are potentially the Moltres and the Tapu Fini, which is what I kind of came prepared for. So my thought process with this Volcarona set, right, is judging on how I have offensive Pokemon like Bulu and Greninja, and then also the Wobbuffet on my team, I feel that he's going to be very pressured to want to go into a Latios to deal with Volcarona. And also, even if he does, he fears, the Bug Buzz happening. So I got a couple of cheeky bluffs in mind. So Fire Dance turn 1 is 100% the play. If he leads Ferrothorn, I just click it. If he leads Pylo, I just click it. The Sash is also really nice for things like lead Scuff Drill. If he thinks that Drill is just going to drop my Volcarona turn 1, then I can obviously live the Rock Slide and go for the Fire Dance. Granted, the same thing could be achieved with a Chardy Berry. I guess the difference here is that it's also really nice against, say, like a Moltres lead, where obviously Moltres could just go for like a Z Hurricane if I wanted to, right off the bat, and I can obviously live that because of the Sash, go for HP Rock, and then, Moltres is basically out of the game at that point. So, basically, the Quiver is there for the Fini matchup, and also because initially it was going to be Bug Buzz, but then I kind of looked at the matchup and well, if Latios comes in, I just have so many ways around it at the time. I can play around it so well, and it's just a phenomenal bluff, because I feel he will expect Bug Buzz to be on there. He'll feel like there's no reason why I shouldn't be running Bug Buzz in this matchup. So basically, the aim of this Volcarona is to bait and destroy the Tapu Fini and the Moltres. Fire Dance and Giga Drain, as I said, basically knocks out max HP Pylo. Don't expect too much Spidef investment, if any. So that thing's basically out of the way, because I feel like Pylo just turn 1 might even just go for fucking rocks against me, thinking he's just safe to do that, or might go for the EQ, and, Fire Dance and Giga Drain, I get a lot of health back from that Pylo, so that's huge. And then, like, he could go into Lati as, like, a revenge thing, but, like I said, I'll explain, I got plays around that, potentially, and against the Fini, I can just Quiver on it turn 1 for free. If he madnesses, it doesn't matter, I can just go straight for the Giga Drain on turn 2. Even if he hazes, I get a huge amount of chip on Fini, which doesn't have great recovery, and given that Fini's also really needed for things like Greninja, Gallade, and Zygarde, being able to chip it down with Lead Rona is massive. Volcarona's basic job is almost just lead, and just chip things until it dies. It doesn't really need to be preserved in this matchup. It's more of a kind of nuke, if that makes sense. And the Hidden Power Rock, like I said, is that cheeky tech, because if he sees Fire Dance and Giga Drain, and maybe even Quiver, he will feel like the last move should be Bug Buzz, and I feel like he'll be more inclined to want to go Moltres, and that's where I believe I'll be able to catch him and go for the, okay computer, you do that. Hidden Power Rock. I have realized though that I do want to change the set a little bit from what it initially was. It's currently creeping Drill, but I would really like it to be able to creep Moltres, just straight up. I don't really need the HP investment at all, and being able to creep Moltres 100% of the time is really important, so I'd like to be able to do that. Plus it means after a Quiver, I also outspeed Scarf Moltres, which is huge. So basic premise of this Volcarona is that it kind of counters what would be his regular disruptive leads to my team, and it gives me a lot of early game pressure and just weakens a lot of his good defensive Pokemon. Moving on to, I guess, the most defensive, or one of the two most defensive Pokemon on my team to an extent, and that is my Tapu Bulu. I decided to go with an AV set this week because I really liked the look of, I guess, the 3 attacks that I wanted on Bulu in this matchup, and I also liked, what Bulu could do against certain things. So obviously, one of the main reasons why it has AV is because of Moltres. I feel like Moltres, could just drop a Fire Blast or a Hurricane on us, and luckily with the AV, we can actually live either of those hits. It does not KO us from max special attack Moltres. Life Orb is a roll to do it, but I don't think he's going to be Life Orb in this matchup. We'll have to wait and see. I can obviously scout with Zygarde potentially on what kind of Moltres set that he is, but even if he does reveal to be Life Orb, then I can kind of take advantage of that too. Basically every move is needed here. Mega Horn is mainly for Latios to bop that. Horn Leech is Super Spam Ball, Super Powers for the Ferrothorn, and Rock Slide is for the Moltres. Only need 84 speed. That is enough investment to outspeed a no speed Tapu Fini. I feel like he has no need to run speed investment on his Fini this week, unless he is going to try and creep Bulu, which I feel like he could do, but at the same time I just don't feel like it's worth it. So yeah, I'm just running out a little bit of investment there. Bulu is my main switch into Fini a lot of the time. Fini can be a bit of an annoying mon, but Bulu kind of plays around that. Plus with Bulu's natural bulk, it can actually be an effective switch into Drill a lot of times, as it can bait the Iron Head and Poison Jab, and I can potentially go into something like Volcarona and get a Flame Body off. So there's a lot of different plays that I can go with there. It's just a really solid set. I found it was frustrating when I used it in the mock because it would have put in so much more work if it didn't get knocked off by Fini. So potentially I just got to play a bit more carefully around Fini in the matchup. But regardless, it's a really solid set that can put in a lot of work, and especially if Ferrothorn goes down. And like I said, if Volcarona puts in early game work and gets rid of the Moltres or weakens it to where it can't really come in against Bulu, then that's huge in this matchup. Moving on to, I guess, the main wall breaker of the team, and that is my Greninja. Life Orb Ninja just kind of runs through Sleck's team, unfortunately for him. Dark Pulse into any one of my attacking moves basically knocks out every single Pokemon on his team. Realistically, like Dark Pulse in a Gunk Shot knocks out Fini, Dark Pulse in a Hidden Power Fire. Depending on the Ferrothorn spread, will knock it out. If I see that it's not going to knock it out, then I will play around that accordingly. I have lots of switch-ins that I can use in that situation, obviously. But yeah. Then, Scald's just kind of there because, Drill and whatnot. I'm not really a huge fan of Scald in this matchup, but I feel like I needed to have it for Drill to be able to deal with it there. I am tempted. I am very much contemplating. I just want to kind of look at the calc right now, actually, for it. I just want to see if it's worth it or not. Because knowing my opponent, I feel like my opponent's going to go like more Spadef than anything else. Don't know why that was put down as Protean. Definitely. Do I even want Neuroforce? What the fuck? Who gets Neuroforce? I just want to have a look at the difference between Low Kick and Hidden Power Fire. Mainly. Okay. So, there's that. HP Fire. Oh, there's Aurora. What the fuck? Get Aurora out of here. HP Fire is still doing more. As you can see, like HP Fire to a Spadef Ferrothorn does absolutely nothing. So if I see Dark Pulse is doing like literally 0, oh, that's because I have Klutz. God damn it! Just give it Iron Fist. There, that's more like it. Okay. So as you can see, like Dark Pulse into HP Fire has a chance to kill, but it's not enough of a chance. I basically need to get a little bit more of a chip onto Ferrothorn before I can knock it out. So the normal play will basically be Ninja, going for Dark Pulse, and then probably doubling into something like my Zygarde, or even my Volcarona if it's still alive at that point to take a potential Power Whip, and going from there. And then from that point, Ferro is weakened to the point where it can't come in against Ninja, with this set. And if I switch out after clicking Dark Pulse, it may make him think that I don't have the HP Fire, so could be some mind games there. I'm very much tossing up, instead of Scald, going with Water Shuriken. Because I feel that, like, if you look at my opponent's team, Scald, like, sure, is great for the Drill, but if the Drill is Scarf, then it's super annoying, and Drill still takes a ton from Dark Pulse and Hidden Power Fire, and, you know, Shuriken would just be so nice. Like, if I just show you an example, so say I have Water Shuriken on this set, and he is, like, a Scarf Drill. Like, look at that damage. That's 3-hit Shuriken. Does a ton. And as you can see, Dark Pulse and HP Fire are already doing a ton to it, so starting to think Shuriken's going to be the better play there. So changing the set kind of on the fly, but Shuriken's really nice again for the Drill, and also any other mon that could be faster than Ninja. Just kind of saves the 50-50s as well. Really nice free damage, and just a really, really strong set in general. Like, Ninja just kind of goes in against his team. But moving on to another kind of bulky mon. This is the first of my 2 setup sweepers. I really like this bulk up Gallade set because it has the special, not special defensive bulk, just natural bulk to where a lot of his physical attackers aren't going to be able to do absolutely anything to him. Like, bulk up into Poison Jab, I ensured that the bulk up into Poison Jab with the attack investment that I have will 2-hit KO Tapu Fini, which is huge. That's like his biggest way of stopping me, and then I can like Drain Punch a lot of the rest of his team. The only fear is potentially something like Dusclops, but at the same time, I have a lot of ways around Dusclops, so it's not a big deal. Like, Ninja just kind of comes in for free against Dusclops a lot of the time. So, not a big deal at all. Knockoff is there, obviously, for the Dusclops and for Latios, and Drain Punch is just really consistent recovery against a lot of his team. It's so free just to get a lot of that health back against certain mons, and, you know, it's really, really nice for the Drill. Super nice for the Drill, just kind of go for that for free. But yeah, just kind of bulk up. I could have run SD, but I liked the premise of bulk up to where I could bulk up as he goes into Finny, knock it out with 2 of my Poison Jabs, take about 50% from the Moonblast, and then still be in a really good spot to take hits. You know, Latios, because of my Spadef stat, means that Latios can't just click Dragon Pulse and kill me. Psyshock, because I'm a +1 with defense, won't be able to knock me out either. And I can proceed to either Drain on the risk of the roll, or I can just choose to go for the knockoff and weaken it from there. But yeah, Gallage is super strong. Speed time with Latios, enough attack investment to 2-hit KO Finny, and the rest is into bulk, because bulky Gallage just has a lot of versatility in this team. But the other setup sweeper is probably the main win con. In the mock, it basically won the game by itself, just for the fact that this set is incredibly hard for Select's team to break. Funnily enough, I actually had it where it camouflaged into a fairy type, which turned out to be quite fine because it was sub-camouflaged against a Finny. I get the sub up for free as Finny comes in, I camouflage up, and the Finny had Ice Beam, which is fair enough, which obviously wasn't going to break my sub. Neither does Moonblast to this variant of Zygarde if he is running no special attack, which I feel like he won't. I feel like he'll bring a very bulky Finny to deal with things, so he won't bring any words are hard. He will not bring any special attack. I'm very tempted to take away some of the attack and put it into speed. I might just do that for peace of mind. So 112. I'll chuck it in 16 just because of the potential for Finny to be creeping. No speed Zygarde, if he assumes a set like this, I can just go for chip, and it ensures that I can, you know, sub and camouflage without any disruption. But this set basically, he doesn't have a counter to 1,000 arrows. He has no resist on his team to arrows. Which is huge. I think Heracross though does count as a resist, but at the same time, the fuck is a Heracross doing to me if I coil? Especially if I'm also a fairy type, which is generally what happens. I camouflage into a fairy type, which is actually huge because yes, it means I'm a little bit more susceptible to drill, but at the same time, not really. It's like, if I'm behind a sub, then it doesn't really matter if drill comes in or not. Arrows is just going to fuck him up because I'm adamant still. And I can just kind of go for sub plus coil pretty consistently against Finny to when I'm set up enough to 2-hit KO it. And then when Finny goes down, like I said, Gallade becomes a huge threat, so does Ninja. And, you know, Zygarde, realistically, if it kills Finny, is still going to be behind a sub, which means he's going to have to sack off another Mon in order to kill Zygarde, which is huge. So I can basically take down 2 Mons at a time. What's also good about the camouflage and Misty Terrain becoming a fairy type is it makes me have a ridiculously good matchup against Lati. If it is just Dragon Pulse plus Psyshock, which I feel like might be the set he brings, then that's huge here because My coil set basically 1v1s that. Because Psyshock does nothing while I've got coils up, and I'll be a fairy type, so Dragon Pulse does fuck all as well. So his Misty Terrain over my Grassy Terrain is actually a really big advantage for my Zygarde in this matchup, and the one mon that gets an advantage from it basically just dies, breaking my sub. So yeah, it's a really, really important set to this game. It can literally run through 2 or 3 members of his team if I play it correctly. I did not play it correctly in the mocks, but it definitely would have won if I'd played it correctly, so I know now the right thing to do. Now, initially in the team, when I did the mock, I had a Scarf Nihilego, which just failed miserably, and you know, after sitting down and chatting after the mock, I realized that what this team could really use was a big disruptor, because what were the annoying 2 mons initially were Latios and Drill, and this last set just ruins both of them. So if it's a Scarf Drill, which I assume it will be, and if it is like some form of setup Lati, this Wob just kind of beats both of them, because the combo of Encore and Citrus Berry basically means that they could be setting up a move as Wob comes in, and then I can just Encore on the next turn. So say like the best example is Latios. So in the mock, I faced a DD Latios with mixed attack, but basically he could DD. On my next turn, I could click Encore. If he goes for the Outrage, I can live the Outrage, pop my Citrus Berry, get back to a range of health where Outrage will not kill me, and then proceed on the next turn to click Counter and knock out the Mega Latios. Which, honestly, if I do a 1-for-1 trade of Wobbuffet for Mega Latios, I will happily take that. It's a huge threat to my team if I get rid of it. I'll take that to the bank. It also works the same with Drill. Like I said with Zygarde, yes, it is weak to Drill, but if I switch in the Wobbuffet on a Scarf Drill going for Iron Head, then he's going to need to flinch me down to stop me, and he is going to need a lot of flinches, because his Iron Head is only like a 72% chance of 3-hit KOing, which means he Iron Head once, potentially gets a flinch, he Iron Heads a second time, I proc my Berry, and then he has to hit, he has to get 2 more flinches after that. So he needs 4 flinches in a row to prevent Wobbuffet from basically just clicking Counter and killing his Excadrill, which, if he gets it, then that's just bullshit, but it is what it is. It's a really strong set. Just the fact that like Encore into Counter or Miracle is just so dirty with Citrus Berry. It basically ensures that like there's not much they can do. Like it's the same with Carmine Lati. If Lati Carmine's up and then drops like a Dragon Pulse on me, I can take the Dragon Pulse, eat my Citrus Berry up, and then be in a great position. The only fear with Dragon Pulse, as far as I remember, was that +1 Dragon Pulse has a chance to do like 49.4%, which I'm a little bit concerned about, because that might leave me at potentially 50. No, I think 49 will mean that I get left at 50. Hopefully, I'm worried it's going to leave me at 51. And if it leaves me at 51, that's going to suck. So I am actually kind of tempted to run a little bit less Spadef, just to ensure that the Dragon Pulse puts me into range of my Citrus Berry proccing, so I can ensure that I knock out the Latios, because it's huge in this game to be able to knock out a massive threat like that, and especially the Drill too. Like both of them are the 2 biggest offensive threats that my opponent has to my team, so being able to bop one of them is great. Also, Wobbuffet takes like 58% max from Moltres' like Z Hurricane, which is just wonderful, and I can just click Miracle on that if I wanted to. So there's that option too, but Wobbuffet just kind of guarantees that one of his big threats is basically going to go down, or it means one of his big threats is not running the scary set that I was expecting it to, which is also just really, really nice. Drill not being scarfed is just so good for my team. It means that Volcarona, Ninja, Gallade just becomes so much stronger. And even if he is like, a sub-toxic set, it doesn't really matter against my team. Ninja with Shuriken can break that. Zygarde can just sub up behind. There's not a whole lot he can do there. So this Wob set is great. What I am just going to do quickly, and you'll see it in the calc because I will show what Wob can do. So as you can see there, like EQ does 35 to 42. You can't really see it too well there. But I'm just going to look up Mega Latios super quick. Draco is not the best example. What I want is Dragon Pulse, because Draco obviously will be able to get the job done, but Dragon Pulse, as you can see at +1, Dragon Pulse here does 46.6 minimum, which is a problem, because if I encore him into Dragon Pulse, there is a chance that the high roll is 54.8, which means if he gets a roll of like 49% into like a 51%, then I get knocked out, and that's just crap. So what I want to do here is deliberately almost not run as much bulk as I need to in special defense to ensure that my Wobbuffet can... actually, no, what I need to do is actually I can run 252. 252 is fine. All I got to do... Oh my god, really? Really, Showdown? You're going to do this to me right now? All I got to do is change it to bold. And then boom, Dragon Pulse. Now, Draco Meteor still doesn't kill me. It does 92% max. And then obviously I get my Berry heal back up and -2... No, it'll be -1 Draco after that. After the Citrus does not knock me out either. So then at +1, the Dragon Pulse is guaranteed to proc my Berry. And now that I have even more Fizz Def, it means that Drill just really isn't doing that much. Like, Adamant Drill, the most it's doing to me with EQ is 42%, and with Iron Head, it is now a 0.2% chance to 3 a KO. That is ridiculous. Wobbuffet's insane, bro. So, literally just that one change from Calm to Bold now means that Luddy definitely just dies against me. Depending on what it locks himself into, I can just play around it so freely and easily. And then yeah, so I'm not going to ramble about this team anymore. I just really feel like it's a strong team. Can definitely put in a lot of work. Really keen to see what this Volcarona can do on lead matchup. I feel like I can bait a lot of things in. And like I said, this is a huge thing, right? So Volcarona doesn't have where to hit Lardy. But if Lardy comes in, then I just go hard Wob. And then it's just a really strong position. Because if he hasn't set up rocks, and then Lardy comes in, and Volcarona's still got a sash intact, that's massive, because this can come in hard against Ferrothorn. And if it goes for rocks, then Volk doesn't care. It just gets a free Fiery Dance off, so that's huge. So yeah, that's the team. I feel really confident about it. Bull is the iffy set. Like, obviously, AV is not ideal. I was tempted by a Banded variant, but I really like the AV just to be able to come in and kind of pivot and do its job in that sense. But I really like the team. It's a really nice offense with, bulk balance, and dude, it's going to put in the work. This Zygarde set, I'm really hoping does exactly what I expect it to do and just kind of set up and sweep and run through the majority of his team. That would be fantastic. But that's going to do it for me here, guys. I'm going to do the team builder separate to the battle because this team builder has been so long, because I'm going into more depth explaining everything. But I feel super happy with this team. It's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, it's my first game back. Well, technically the other two games in Duel Society have been back, but I wasn't really taking them overly seriously. This is my first time playing seriously. I might even do live comm of the game, just kind of breaking down all the plays that I do. But this is a huge matchup, guys. I want to back myself. I want to say that I've got the ability to get the job done. I feel the team can get the job done too. So we'll just have to play and find out. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, like the video, all that good stuff. My name's The Bird. I'm out this bit.